7 purposes why God allows sufferings, crisis, and shaking in our lives. How many of you want to know? I don't see you. Come on, lift your hands. Well, you want to see it? Because people said, why am happening this? Why is happening? I don't understand. I don't feel that this is the right time. Or, we ask questions. And these are the purposes why we are being partakers of his suffering. Are you ready? Are you ready to travel with me? Are you ready to go in this journey with me? Can I hear an amen? I want the church to say amen. Okay, I want you to be ready and go with the journey with me. So we go, why God, the purpose of his suffering. Why God allowed things beyond our understanding. Why God allowed crisis. Why God allowed or permits things in our life and we cannot explain. It's beyond our head. So why? Number one, I want you to see it because this message will tell you you're not suffering in vain. Let me go where people help me because they don't help me over here. Okay, you're not going through something in vain. This is the time. Be aware that Jesus is coming soon. So Jesus is preparing the bride, is preparing the church to be the mature the mature bride, the mature man of God. And then he said, why he allows things. And don't think I don't understand why I have to go through this financial crisis, why I have to go with my kids, why I have to go this in my health. Well, I don't understand. Well, anything that happened in here, God allows it. And if God allows it, it doesn't mean he brought it. It doesn't mean it come from heaven. Sickness doesn't come from God. But you have to understand, if he allows it, what is he telling you? What is he saying? What's the message? We need to understand. Can you hear an amen? I want to hear the sound of the people. So number one, I'm going to go quickly because I only have 30 minutes. So first of all, why God allow things in your marriage, your family? Why God allow things in your finances, your health, your children? And every area is being shaken. Now, don't let it fool you, but anybody. I mean, everybody's being shaken. Anybody here going through something? I want to see your hands. 1, 2, 3. The rest of it, you don't go anything. If you're not a threat to the enemy, you're not going to go through something. If you like, whatever, the devil said, don't worry about that. I'm going to look for him. He's a threat to me. So I'm going to stop whatever he's doing. So let me give you a revelation on 7 reasons why God allowed things in our life for us to change, for us to go into another level. Number one, to qualify to be the remnant. Not a remnant, the remnant. To qualify to be the remnant. I write this down quickly. All crisis produces a remnant. All shaking produce a remnant. Let me go because I don't think you understood. The pattern in the Bible, we see that every time there's a crisis in the family, in the church, produces a remnant. Who is a remnant? Write it down. A remnant is what is left of a community, a group of people that goes through crisis or a catastrophe. A remnant, those that are watching by the internet, I'm talking to remnant today. I'm not talking to a bunch of people that are not doing anything. I'm talking to remnant. In other words, who's the remnant? The remnant is what is left after a community, a group goes through a crisis of a shaking. In other words, there is a residue of what is left. What is left? How many people will be left after this pandemic? There are a lot of people that will never come back to the house of God. They're afraid and they say, I can go back. And let me tell you something. You can fail 7 times, but your sin is to stay on the floor. Your victory is to stand up again. Anybody can fail, but you can't stay on the floor. You have to get up. Oh my gosh. So this is what produces. The 5 virgins of 10, only 5 went through the crisis. Can I hear an amen, people? So those that come through it are the one that qualify to be the remnant. In other words, to qualify to be the remnant, you must go through a process Oh, I wish I can hear an amen. In other words, if you're not going through any process, you're not qualified to be a remnant. You either qualify before the rapture or after the rapture. But after the rapture, you have to go through the great tribulation. I don't want to go through the great tribulation. Because to qualify to be the remnant, who's the remnant? The bride of Christ. Who's the remnant? The church that goes in, that will go in the rapture. Who's the remnant? So God says the remnant is those that go through something, and though the one that left, that went through it, that is my remnant. And God said, you have two choices. You either go here through the process of suffering, of being, going through a crisis, or either you go in the rapture. Can I hear an amen? So the more things intensify, so people don't want to go into process because the process is painful. Oh my God, it hurts me. So it hurt me. The more the crisis intensifies, the more people will walk away from God. Somebody say amen. Thousands of people are throwing the towel because of what they're going through. Thousands of people are staying home. Now they never go back to the church. Keep connecting. I see a lot of connections now. So why? Because thousands of people are departing from the faith. Thousands of people are stopped serving God. Thousands of people are not coming back to the house of God after the pandemic. Thousands of people are abandoning their call and their purpose. Thousands of people. What does that mean? Noah went through the flood. Only 8 was left. Only 8 of his family. In other words, the flood came, shook the earth. 2 million people in that time. Only 8 people got saved. And only 8 people went through that crisis and could. That's the reason when you're going through a crisis, you need to press on. Somebody can you put your hands together? Come on, everybody. I want to see your hands putting together and touch your neighbor and tell him, press on, press on, press on. So quickly, I gotta go. So people are fleeing. So the judgment now is for the world. The judgment is not for the remnant. For the remnant is the process to qualify to be the bride of Christ. When Christ comes, you're ready. You will say, I've been going through hot water and the desert, but I'm still standing. I've been going through hell and hot water, but I'm still standing. I wish I could hear an amen here. In other words, would you stand? I said, would you stand? Would you go through it? You're going to get press on. I got some issues in my finances. Press on. Come on, is anybody here? God brought you here today. You got 2 choices. You got 2 choices. You know what the 2 choices you have? You compromise or you stand. Somebody turn around. Touch your neighbor and tell her, I'm going through this. Shout it. Say, I'm going through this. Give me a shout. I am going through this. Where is my singers? Ronald, where are my singers? Why are you so joyful, Apostle? If I see my circumstance, I would be in a hospital, a mental hospital. But I don't see the battle. I see the victory. I see the victory. Touch your neighbor, tell him, I see the victory. Turn around. Hey, keep connecting in your home. Go. All right. Number 2, take your seat. Lift everybody your hands and declare this in the spirit dimension. Say with me, I am a remnant. No, you sound like you're little, like, I don't know, Lord, help me. 1, 2, 3, go. And who's a remnant? Who is a remnant? Whatever is left after you went through crisis. Whatever is left, you are the remnant. You touch a neighbor and tell him, I can fall, but I'm not going to stay fall. I'm going to stay down. I'm going to get up. So whatever is left after a shaking, you are the remnant. Number two. Come on. Why God allow things in our life? I don't understand. Apostle, I don't understand. You don't have to understand. Just keep pressing in. Keep pressing in. Say, I don't have to understand it. Oh, why me? Why me? Don't complain. Just press in. Number 2, the reason is to conform to the character and the image of Christ. In other words, God said, if you are my remnant, I will allow painful process for you to become like me. And the question is, what does that mean to be like Christ? What does that mean? To be like Christ is to be the way Jesus think, the way Jesus talk, the way Jesus walk, is to see things in Jesus' perspective. Whenever you think like Jesus, whenever you talk like Jesus, I'm talking to you. Whenever you talk like Jesus, Jesus don't say this, don't talk this way. Jesus doesn't say, I can't do that. It's too much for me. It's very painful. So what Jesus, you need to talk like him. After you've gone through hot water, after you've gone through this painful process, you become more humble. You become more grateful. You become like Jesus. After you went through what you went through, you become more compassionate. Before you were a judgmental. Before you judge people. Now you went through, you said, Lord, I blessed them. In other words, tell them, I'm on my way to qualify to be a remnant. I'm on my way to qualify to be a remnant. Come on. Touch your neighbor. Tell him, I'm on my way. So what God is saying to you, what God is saying, oh my God, I feel the power. So God is saying, I allow things to happen for you to become like me because that is my priority. Before your convenience and comfort, I want you to become like me. Before you got a big house and a big business, I want you look like me. Jesus didn't say, don't use the Instagram and social media to attack people. I don't use my social media and I don't use my television to attack and to defend myself because Jesus wouldn't do that. I have to become like Jesus. Bless those that persecute you. Bless those that persecute you. So what are you going to say? When you go through something, you said, you know what? I have compassion for those people now. I feel like I'm Jesus. I'm seeing things different. Oh, Jesus, I'm more compassionate. Touch your neighbor and tell him, in my way to qualify to be a remnant. Romans chapter 8, verse 29. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 13. And then this is so powerful. Prophet Tracy, this is so powerful. So the reason allowed sufferings, trials, shaking in our life is for us to become like him. If we've never gone through that, we never be like Jesus. And listen to this. This is so powerful. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 13. That's the priority. To conform like Jesus. To conform to the image of Jesus. Ephesians 4:13. Listen. Until we all come into the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, into a perfect man, unto the measure of stature of the fullness of Christ. Shout, everybody, stature. Only one person. I heard one person. I want you to lift your hands. Come on. 1, 2, 3, go. Everybody. Those that are watching by the internet. What? Stature. What does that mean? To become the full stature of Jesus. The Baptists will tell you. The Methodists will tell you, the Baptists especially, they will tell you to be like Jesus is to be more loving, to be more grateful, to be more compassionate, to be more, okay, that is good. That is the first part. That's becoming the full stature of the character of Jesus. But the Lord said to me, to be the full stature of Jesus, it has to be in character and power. I am loving, but I don't have no authority to rebuke a headache. God says, okay, I am compassionate. Yeah, Jesus said, I am compassionate. But you need to have power and authority to rebuke cancer. And Jesus said, I want you to be like me, like my character, loving, compassionate, but also to be powerful. Can I hear an amen, people? I say, can I hear an amen? There are consequences not to go through a process. People that abandon their purpose in life is because they never went through a process. They want a quick fix. They never wanted to go through a process because processes are painful. But Jesus said, in that pain will come out with my character and my power. All right, 3 things. I want you to write it down. 3 things, and I'm going to have to go quickly. I got 60 minutes. God uses 3 things to mature you, to develop, yet you look like Jesus, through serving, by experience, and by suffering. If you don't serve, you will never develop and mature as a Christian. Isn't that powerful? In other words, people want to come to the church. They want to be elders. They want to be a title, but they don't want to serve. In service, God processes you to be more grateful, because God puts you to work with difficult people. Number 2, by experience. And number 3, by suffering. So why God, and I write this down, why God, what is the purpose for you to go through, to be conformed like Jesus, or for the purpose of your maturity? Number 1, write it down, to prepare you for the days ahead. Extreme days and things are coming upon the earth. Number 2, this is powerful. In other words, we will see more riots. We will see more viruses. We will see more deception manifested on the earth. The church lost its combative attitude. The church lost that fighting spirit. And God is forming in you a warrior. Because the days ahead are very dangerous. You will not make it in the days ahead. Number 2, the reason is because you can't face the days ahead if you're unstable, emotional stable. In other words, what I'm saying to you is this: God is saying to you, you can't face things like that, what is coming ahead. And number 2, God said, you need to mature, because maturity is connected to my coming. I don't come for an emotional church. I come for a mature believer.